Hello everyone, Johnny Hurricane here from GamersHeroes.com, and why don't you sit back, relax, and let me tell you about Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE Encore. Let's get started. Just so we're all clear, a review code was provided by the publisher. Tokyo Mirage Sessions starts with an event known as the Mass Disappearance. As the name suggests, 1,000 people suddenly disappear from a concert. Of everyone in the venue, only one person didn't get taken. Tsubasa Oribe was watching her sister perform, and a mysterious light protected her from this strange occurrence. Fast forward to 5 years, and we meet the main character, Itsuki Aoi. Itsuki and Tsubasa are friends, and they run into each other at an idol event. Itsuki wasn't there for the event, he was meeting someone else, and they didn't show up, so he just ended up meeting with Tsubasa. Tsubasa was doing an audition, sort of like an American Idol or The Voice, that type of show, and while she was answering questions, the shadows appear again and start taking people. Tsubasa happens to be one of the people that gets taken this time, and Itsuki follows her. From here, you enter the world of Mirages and you have to rescue Tsubasa. The Mirages are after people's performa, which is basically people's performance skill or entertainment value, whatever you want to call it, and it's why they ended up taking Tsubasa. After you rescue her, you and her and a few others end up teaming up to take on this Mirage menace. Now the story runs roughly 45 to 50 hours, but if you're going to do everything, expect to sink probably 60. While you're in the Mirage world, you awaken as a Mirage Master and summon your own Mirage to help you fight the other Mirages. The Mirage that you summon and your allies summon all end up being Fire Emblem characters. Chrom awakens in Itsuki, Keita in Tsubasa, there are others like Tiki and Kane and the big armor guy, Draug I think his name is, as well as Tharja. Tiki doesn't actually join anybody as a Mirage, but she does make an appearance and she helps out in combat from time to time. It is worth noting that their appearances are unique to the game. While you can tell who they all have different faces, more like a shadowy face or helmets on, things like that. One downside though, you cannot switch your Mirage. While you can change class with your Mirage, you are stuck with who you are given. The combat itself is turn-based and centers around two major factors. First off, the weakness and the resistance. You're always aiming to hit weakness. Doesn't matter who you're fighting, you want to hit the weakness in their armor. Of course, you yourself want to be resistant or at least not weak to the enemy attacks. You are going for weakness because it triggers a succession attack. Succession attack is when you and an ally or multiple allies jump in and attack at the same time. The reason you don't want to be weak is because the enemies can trigger these as well. If they trigger it on you, and there's 4 of them, odds are you're gonna die. At first, the succession attack generally is 1 or 2 of your allies jumping in, but as you progress, your benched characters can jump in, characters that aren't even in the world, like the NPCs like Tiki, she can shoot a fireball as well. So as you progress, it gets stronger and stronger, but at first, it's not as strong, except the enemies can be a one-hit kill. It's not a super big deal if they bring down just one of your characters, but if they kill everybody, it is game over, and there is no autosave. So if you didn't save recently, you're going to have to do some backtracking. Aside from all the Mirage business, most of your allies are also trying to become better entertainers. While you are the leader in combat, you play more of a backup role to your friends on their journey to stardom. Actors, singers, and idols, it might all sound silly, but the side missions unlock new skills and outfits for your comrades. It caught me off guard the first time Toma switched his outfit mid-fight and rammed the enemies for crit damage and triggered a succession. Once I figured out they could use these new skills in combat, I would go out of my way to complete the side quests. One problem I had is that you can only have one side quest active at a time. If you don't finish the side quest and you switch, you have to restart the original one from the scratch. Other than side quests, you can also take on requests, which you can do multiple of at the same time. These are found in dungeons and from random citizens in the world. They're pretty generic, go kill X amount of enemies, retrieve X amount of items, find things for me, things like that. Nothing too crazy. Sometimes you'll find someone who's like, hey, I need my performa back, and you might have a mini boss fight. Those are the hardest ones. These are all optional, of course, and the rewards just aren't as good, so I did skip quite a few of those. While you're running around in the real world, your Mirages are hanging out in a place called the Bloom Palace, which is where Tiki resides. In the palace, you can forge new weapons, learn new skills, change classes, and do optional dungeons for bonus items. The extra dungeons remove any real need for grinding by giving you EXP tomes and weapon tomes. These will make it so basically the next time you finish a fight, you level up. Or next time you finish a fight, your next skill is unlocked for your weapon. This is good because it seems like, to me at least, it was a pretty grind heavy game. It was pretty often that I fight everything. Even with these tomes, it was pretty often I'd get to a boss and it'd be my level exactly. It could be that the bosses just scale up with your level, I'm not entirely sure, but the tomes made things go a lot quicker for me. There's also an EX dungeon, EX story they're called. They were DLC for the original game that didn't actually make it over here. They're fine. They're, more insight into your characters and some extra items and outfits, but it's not super big. It's not a super important part of the game. And while we're on the subject of dungeons, I want to talk about the actual dungeons in the game. I liked the design of these dungeons a lot. They're the right balance of puzzles, combat, and boss fights. They do follow a theme that is related to entertainers as well. You'll go through photo shoot dungeon, TV show dungeon, a movie set, and others before it all wraps up. One downside is that the enemies are often just reskinned and just higher leveled. And if you were wondering, it pulls far more from Shin Megami Tensei and the Persona series rather than the Fire Emblem series. The story and the combat is more Fire Emblem related, while pretty much everything else is Persona related. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, I'm just saying that if you're looking for a Fire Emblem experience, it's not going to be here. I didn't run into any frame drops, bugs, or crashes, but I did have a couple of issues. Like I said earlier, there is no autosave, and death leads to game over. Be sure to save often. In addition, bosses will occasionally call extra enemies to join the fight. That's just something I've grown very tired of in games, and it happens way too often, so I'm just start knocking people for it because it's lazy design. Backtracking is commonplace. Bosses, oftentimes you'll walk in and be like, oh, there's the boss, but now I have to go do something else back at the Bloom Palace. All right, now I go back to the boss. It happens a lot. You can warp right back to the Bloom Palace, but that doesn't eliminate the fact that you are doing a ton of backtracking in this game. Any Persona, Shin Megami Tensei, or JRPG fan shouldn't hesitate to pick up Tokyo Mirage Sessions Encore. It's fantastic to see another lost gem from the Wii U shine brightly on the Nintendo Switch. Alright, that'll do it for me. If you liked what you saw and got what you needed, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys in the next video. Later, Gators!